Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Spiritual Businesswoman podcast. I'm your host, Sky Kristen, and in today's episode, we are feeling comfy cozy. If you're listening, you can't see this, but if you're watching, I'm in my living room sitting on my couch. I just want to let myself feel more relaxed when I film these episodes because I feel like when I feel relaxed, almost like I'm just like talking to a friend, I feel like that's when my most authentic self comes through and my message is just so much better and so much more aligned with what I'm trying to say. So hopefully this helps. I feel like it's already helping, like just sitting here kind of chilling talking to the camera, because at the end of the day, having the mic, the camera, the notes, everything in front of me, I feel like I want to tap into like performance mode. And though that's good sometimes, I feel like with this podcast specifically, I really just want to, like I said, feel relaxed, feel like my most authentic self, and just let what needs to come out. So anyways, I'm currently trying to pre-record a few episodes because in 1 week I leave for LA for my birthday. For those who don't know, my boyfriend lives in California, so I'm constantly going back and forth, and obviously it just makes sense to be in California for my birthday. I might do a little traveling afterwards too, so yeah, I'm just trying to record a few episodes so I can stay in the flow of uploading. But I hope you all had a really good Mother's Day weekend. I know by the time you're listening to this, it's like been a week since then, but I had a really good weekend seeing my mom and spending time with her. And I also did like a spa night with my best friend. We did some insane facials on each other. We did microneedling, high frequency red light therapy, just everything. We did literally everything. You're probably not even supposed to do that many treatments in one day, but we did anyways. And my skin, first of all, it's glowing. I was red for like 3 days, so it was a little scary, but I looked at it like my skin is just healing from this treatment. But my skin has never felt better. I like don't want to recommend getting a microneedling pen at home just in case, I don't know, anyone hurts themselves, but I highly recommend it. Or even just getting a microneedling facial, like going and paying for it. My skin has never felt and looked this good. So I'm already really happy with the results, and this is something that me and my best friend are going to have to do like every 6 weeks now. So really excited for that progress. But anyways, for today's episode, I am really excited to tap into everything that we're about to talk about, because I'm telling you, this episode is timeless. This is a classic episode. I promise you, if you are finding this episode in 2030, 2040, 2050, you will still find value in this episode. I know this because I have been using a lot of these, I don't know, tips, tricks, strategies for a few years now, and they're still just as relevant and important. Like regardless what I'm going through, coming back to everything we're about to talk about today has helped me and my growth so much. So today we're going to be talking about how to energetically shift into a new reality. Little teeny background explanation on energy. We are all energy. Everything is made out of energy, and we radiate a certain frequency that we can feel. You know, you can feel when your energy is up or when you're depleted. Other people can feel this around you, and it plays a really big part of how you show up in the world and what you attract. And now thinking of this space that we are in, this spiritual, self-help, self-development, manifestation space, I have definitely fallen victim to a lot of practices that, you know, these mentors were talking about, that maybe just the way that it was presented to me or just the method itself wasn't made for me. But I feel like I've wasted a lot of time trying to bring in a new life, a new version of myself, without focusing on what that meant energetically, what was needed from me energetically, or what an energetic shift even meant. And I honestly think this held me back in a lot of ways. Like sometimes I even think of affirmations, for example, and really getting into affirmations and saying these affirmations and not really connecting how saying them made me feel, or even saying them, you know, would make me feel bad or I wouldn't feel good on the inside. and I wouldn't acknowledge that. I wouldn't think that that mattered. I thought I could really just fake it till I make it and keep, just saying these affirmations, and this new life is going to appear. All I need to do is say these affirmations, and not really focusing on what those affirmations were like doing for me energetically within my body, or also even just like feeling guilty that these affirmations weren't resonating or feeling good, because I knew I wanted to be, someone that's confident, but that I say that I'm confident and I don't feel that way, and I just keep saying it, thinking that things are going to change, feeling guilty that I didn't actually deep down feel confident, but I kept, saying it, or even just acting as if, and really feeling like I was acting as if, like not really tapping into that, or scripting and feeling I was lying. Like, I don't know, I just feel like I wasted a lot of my time not focused on the energetic shift that needs to take place. Not even needs to take place, but that takes place, and you actually enter this new reality. You actually are a new version of yourself. Things around you change. Physical things in your life change. And the thing is, you can't force this. Like, you cannot force an energetic shift. I mean, there has been so many times in my life, for example, like going back to old examples of, wanting to be confident, telling myself I was confident, saying these affirmations, writing them in my journal, taking care of myself, going out and really telling myself I was confident, but I reeked of insecurity. Like, my energy screamed insecure, but I, on a surface level, without diving into that energy, I just ignored that and really was like, no, I'm confident. And I say that I'm confident so many times a day, and, I take care of my physical appearance, and I'm confident, and I just need to walk into the room and be confident. And you really, again, you can't fake it. You can sense when someone is trying to fake confidence versus when someone, like, energetically, like, deep in their body, they walk into a room and everyone feels that confidence, and the people that are fake confident feel extremely intimidated by this person. It's because they are radiating that confidence. And it doesn't mean they were always that way. Like, they took some kind of energetic shift to become that. Their energy is now that. It's not just an affirmation or a wish or a manifestation. They are that. Okay, so first things first, and this is a huge one. Me and my best friend were just talking about this weekend, and how we have used this so many times over, and it has like literally like transformed our lives. So it's changing your language, noticing how your body reacts to certain words, like noticing the feelings that come up when you speak about yourself or say certain things. Because at the end of the day, you are truly casting spells on yourself with your words. So for example, a couple years ago, when me and my best friend were really trying to heal our relationship with ourselves, we were in a place where we were not nice to ourselves. We did not say the nicest things about our appearance. We would call ourselves ugly, fat, all of the names in the book. Through wanting to heal our relationship with ourselves and wanting to feel good about ourselves and really take care of ourselves, these sentences, like these words, didn't resonate anymore, but it was just such a habit that we would say it all the time. Like, we would take a picture and be like, oh my God, I look so fat, I look so ugly. And we would stop ourselves. We'd be like, no, you're not. Don't say that. We would say it to ourselves. We would say it to each other. We'd be like, don't say that. And it got to the point where we would say it and immediately take it back and be like, I'm just kidding. I don't mean that about myself. I'm beautiful. I'm this, I'm that. And now, so that was a few years ago, and it was a practice. Like I said, like we didn't resonate with the words anymore. It didn't feel good. Like the feeling that came up when I would call myself ugly, like I can't even say that right now. Like that was not, it didn't feel good. It didn't resonate. I didn't believe it, but I was just so used to saying that about myself until I wasn't. Until I literally changed my vocabulary. I'm ugly. Like that is not part of my vocabulary. Like I will never say that about myself. If I were, and I know I could probably hide a camera, if I were to say that to myself in front of my best friend, the way she would be bamboozled. Like, we do not speak badly about ourselves. And it's not we don't have to think about it, you know? It is just second nature to speak highly of ourselves at all times. And so that's happening within our bodies as well. Like, even the thoughts I have about myself, I'm not having negative thoughts about my appearance or, you know, anything that's playing into this wanting to bring me down or like be my worst enemy or make me feel shitty about myself. And so now, for example, that we are kind of both in a space where we are really healing our relationship with money. And it's just, I feel like I could do a whole podcast episode just talking about that. Honestly, let me know. Maybe I will bring this mic when I go on my trip, because Rachel, my best friend's, coming with me, and maybe we can sit and do a podcast together and talk about all the shifts that have been happening lately about money. And the second we decided that we were healing our relationship with money, everything has been changing way faster than I think both of us could even realize. But it truly started with changing our language. And now, again, similar to when I had to, you know, try to not speak negatively of myself and, you know, call myself ugly and be like, oh, I don't mean that, I'm beautiful, I don't mean that, I love myself, you know, like try to fix the way I'm saying things. That's now where I am with money. So for example, with changing your language, saying like, I can't afford that. First of all, it's like ingrained in my brain to say that. That's very like deep-rooted belief of I can't afford that, I can't afford this. So naturally, it's what I want to say when a big expense comes up. However, if I actually think of how that makes me feel, like what feelings, that's a thing, like feelings in my body, like that's energetically what is going on. So energetically, when I say I can't afford this, that is such a yucky feeling, like gross. I don't like how that makes me feel, which lets me know that like it's not in alignment with who I am, who I want to be. And it's also just putting such a limit on myself. The second I say I can't afford this, my brain's like, okay, we can't afford that. And it just limits any way that I could. So one way that I'm changing that is by saying, how can I afford this? And even just the feelings within my body, saying, how can I afford this, feels so much better. The energy around those words feel so much better. And you will start to think and get downloads of how you can afford that, how your income can go up, versus immediately limiting yourself and what could be possible for you by saying things like, I can't afford that, and setting that statement in stone. So by watching your language and choosing words that feel better inside your body, that feel better to say out loud, you are allowing yourself to raise your frequency, to shift your energy into new possibilities, thinking of new opportunities, being open to new opportunities, reaching deeper levels of love for yourself and compassion for yourself, and truly just building new beliefs. Like, what you think and say all the time, like that is what you believe. That is what you think to be true. Like, if you constantly are thinking and saying you're ugly, like that is a belief. You believe that you're ugly. And if you can just stop thinking that and stop saying that, which again takes practice. It took us, like, honestly, probably from the moment we decided, like, okay, no more shit talking ourselves, no more saying I'm ugly, no more saying I'm fat, no more of any of this. It probably took like 6 months to a year until we actually never thought or said those things again. Like, it takes time. You don't just decide you're going to stop calling yourself ugly and then like just like that it's no longer a belief. Like, everything that you think and you say that is like a habit. For example, my habit right now that I'm breaking of saying I can't afford this, that is deep rooted. Just because I'm now becoming more aware of my language around money, and I'm trying to actively pick better feeling words and statements, like, it doesn't mean that there isn't this deep-rooted belief in my subconscious that I can't afford this. And I know that to be true because even though I'm catching myself changing my language out loud, so I'll say, oh, I can't afford that. Oh, just kidding. Universe, how can I afford this? You know, Sky, how can we afford this? Even though I'm changing the words, the thought is still there. And so I feel like when the thought finally goes away, that's when the belief is gone. So even this is me out loud through that belief by changing my language and picking better words that feel good. It's still a thought. So I'll still go about my day or, you know, be online shopping or I don't know, just doing things that involve money or thoughts of money. I will still have the thought come up naturally like a habit. I can't afford this. So that's how I know it's still there. And you're going to, whether it is about yourself, self-love, money, relationship, whatever it is, changing your language will eventually have a ripple effect of changing your thoughts, which then have a ripple effect and change your beliefs. Which takes me right into my next topic, which is your brain is always going to prove you right. So give it better directions. So your brain is constantly listening to you, whether like whatever you're saying out loud, your thoughts, your beliefs, it is constantly listening to you and it is searching for proof to prove you right. Your brain is not working against you. Your beliefs and your words, your thoughts, that is working against you. Your brain isn't. Like your brain is such a powerful, I don't know, manifestation machine. Like what do I want to call the brain? Like your brain is not working against you. Your brain is, again, constantly trying to prove you right. So, for example, constantly saying, I can't afford this. So when I sit there and I'm like, I can't afford this, when I think I can't afford this, my brain wants to prove me right. And it is going to find all the proof that it needs so that I know that I'm right. So if I say I can't afford this, it's going to tell me why I can't. So let's say it's a plane ticket and I'm like, I can't afford this. My brain's like, you're right, you can't afford that because you have this coming up, you have to pay for this. Here's a possibility, here's a negative possibility if you do pay for that and you don't pay for this, and then this could happen and this can happen, and it will search. It will search deep in your subconscious. It will look out in your external reality. It will collect as much proof as it can to prove you right. So knowing that, it doesn't only work in the negative, it works both ways. Whatever you tell your brain, it will search to the ends of the earth to prove you right. So when I start saying, how can I afford this? How can I afford that plane ticket? It's going to start looking. It's going to start searching around for proof, for ideas, for whatever, any opportunity, any way possible for me to be able to afford that because I asked it how can I afford this? And again, this is an example that I am currently going through, but when I think back even to, you know, when I really started healing my relationship with myself, how I viewed myself, back when my belief was that I was ugly, which can you imagine me? The fucking literally most gorgeous girl ever. Crazy. So whatever, apparently once upon a time, my belief was that I was ugly, okay? Crazy. So because I said that to my brain over and over and over and over and over again, it was looking for proof. You know, my brain wasn't working against me. It wasn't like, haha, like you're so ugly, let's find the reasons why you're ugly. It was just like, okay, that is what you're telling us. Let's find all the proofs in the book. So I'm now tearing apart my face. I'm tearing apart my body. My brain is looking at every possible reason that could make me ugly. It is taking what it knows about the beauty standard and looking at that beauty standard and how I don't look like that beauty standard and the things that I'm missing and all the ways that I'm like, it is searching. It wants to prove me right. It wants to prove me right about being ugly. So it will find every reason to prove me right. And I remember my brain used to work this way. Like looking at pictures of myself, I could find everything wrong in the photo. Now that my deep-rooted belief is that I am so beautiful and gorgeous and stunning and show-stopping, my brain is constantly looking for proof, and it is finding there's way too much proof out there. Genuinely, now when I think about myself, when I look at myself in the mirror, when I look at myself in photos, my brain instantly is looking for proof as to how I'm so beautiful, how everything about me is so perfect, and just all these amazing thoughts which just continue to encourage this belief that I've now built for myself. And night and day, completely opposite, being like so insecure, thinking the absolute worst of myself. And now how I see myself, how I view myself, how I truly, like what I truly think about myself, I did that. I told my brain to do that. I flipped the script. I told it, this is what we believe now. And it went and found proof. And that's the thing. Now that I have the proof, it feels real to me. Like, it's also crazy. Like, our brains are just these like machines that just, do what they can and try to keep us alive, try to make things make sense. And so it's always good to remember, like, your brain is not working against you. Your brain is not broken. Your brain doesn't hate you. It's just trying to prove you right. It actually loves you. It wants you to be right all the time. Even when you're wrong, even when you're calling yourself ugly, even when you're saying that you're broke, even when you're saying you're not going to find love, it loves you so much. It just wants you to be right. So it wants to find all the proof so that you can be right. So give it better directions. It will always prove you right. That's science. That is just how your brain works. Okay, so next point, and I don't know where I heard this, and honestly, I probably just should have looked it up before filming this. If I can find the person who said this, or maybe it was in a book, I don't know where this came from. But this clicked something for me that I can't unclick. It is clicked. It is on, and that is, worrying is a waste of your imagination. Because the next point that I want to talk about that has played a huge role in any time that I have made a massive energetic shift is living in my imagination. Like, man, I don't know about you. I don't know anyone who doesn't just live in their imagination. Like, everyone in my life does this. I'm sure you relate. Like, it can be such an amazing place to live, especially when you can find a connection between, using your imagination to really like think beyond all limits and really push your limits, push your imagination, think bigger than you think is possible. If you can tap into that in your imagination and connect that with physical feelings in your body, that is the recipe for energetic shift, honestly. Because at the end of the day, your crazy brains, your brain does not know the difference between thoughts, your imagination, and reality. This is why, like, you can literally think your way into a full-blown panic attack. And I've been there. Like, you can have a physical reaction to thought, to your imagination. Like, your imagination is so powerful. It affects your physical reality. And so worrying, stressing, overthinking is such a waste of imagination. And I feel like this was definitely something that, I think it struck such a chord with me because I couldn't relate more. Like, I have spent so many years thinking of the worst possible outcome, stressing and overthinking and worrying about a very near future, a very far future. Like, I feel like I've had so many moments in my life where anytime I would use my imagination, it was to worry and to allow my body to then enter these not good feelings, these, lower vibrations, like just really limiting myself and my energy and really keeping me stuck and ruminating over things that didn't even happen yet, that never ended up happening. Like, I have spent so much time worrying about things that never even happened. But I also let this hold me back in so many ways because, I've wanted a lot of what I still want for a while now. Like, I've had things deep within me that I know is just part of my life plan and just really deeply tied to my dharma and what I'm here to do. I've had all these feelings for a long time. And I have been put in positions where, I had an opportunity to be that or to really step into a version of me that I wanted to be or wanted to experience or certain opportunities, whatever. And instead of looking at those times and those opportunities as how much they could potentially positively impact my life, I would immediately use my imagination, waste my imagination, thinking of everything that can go wrong, how I'm going to lose this, how, yeah, I have this now. Yes, this came into my life, but again, I can lose it. It could disappear tomorrow. How could I lose it? What are all the ways that, this could not work out for me? And I mean, so many of those times I feel like my brain proved me right. And I really closed myself off to so many opportunities of expansion, like the way that I am so open to expansion now. And literally, I mean, tapping into my imagination in ways that I never have before, that I almost like didn't let myself tap into because it almost felt pointless to dream so big, to try to imagine a future where this and this could happen, like not, again, just placing zero limitations on my imagination and just looking at it for literally what it is. It's your imagination. That is your imagination. You can imagine whatever you want. And if you can get, again, really good at tapping into your imagination, tapping beyond all of the limits, just thinking and dreaming as big as you can and feeling that in your body, you're going to experience an energetic shift. You now just told your body that this is the truth. Your brain believes it to be true. It caused a physical reaction that you felt. You got goosebumps. You started crying out of happiness, whatever. I literally had a moment last week at the gym where I started bawling my eyes out on the treadmill because I was so deep into my imagination of a moment of the future and how amazing that was going to feel. It brought me to tears in public on the treadmill. Like, your imagination is so powerful both ways. Whether you spend it worrying and stressing and overthinking, it is very powerful to spend it that way. It is also very powerful to spend it dreaming and imagining what could be and how that would feel and who that would make you and how you would feel to be that person and how that life for you would impact the people around you and the world around you, and really tapping into those emotions. It's powerful both ways. And again, the last thing I want to say about that I feel like, there's mixed opinions about this everywhere. And, trust me, I do think that wanting something and then letting it go, or, asking for something and then not thinking about it and letting it go, I understand that allows you to not feel the lack of it and obsess about the lack of it. But I think, and just what's worked for me, like obsessing about what you want out of this life, who you want to be, what you want to experience, what you want to feel, like obsessing over that in your imagination as much as possible, I think is good for you, so long as it generates good feelings in your body. I think, I could definitely relate with, obsessing over these things you're trying to bring in, but constantly having that remind you that you don't have it, or like having that, cause you to tap into feelings of lack. Yeah, that's going to push it away, because at the end of the day, energetically, you reek of lack. You reek of I don't have this. You're not reeking of I am this, I have this. So as long as energetically the feelings that you're feeling on the inside, the feelings that you're vibrating outwards are in alignment with what you are imagining for yourself and your future, I say obsessing over that works. It feels good. Again, I feel like, hearing advice online of, don't think about it, ask for it and let it go. I feel like that has stopped me from just thinking about and, tapping into my imagination and those feelings and like just experiencing it now. I feel like that has held me back in the past of just experiencing it now. But again, do not obsess over things or outcomes if, again, it's just gonna right now. It's just noticing like how you feel right now, how imagining that makes you feel, how thinking that makes you feel. An energetic shift is literally just an energetic upgrade. And tapping into that, you need to tap into those high vibe feelings. I almost hate saying high vibe. Like, it's so, I don't know. I don't like saying high vibe, but at the end of the day, on a scientific level, it's high vibrating emotions because they vibrate at a higher frequency. Lower, not so good feeling emotions vibrate at a lower frequency. That's all it means. I think I just hate when it feels like one is better than the other, because it's all good. It's just recognizing it and recognizing when you're holding yourself back because you're just like not letting yourself tap into higher levels of being, like just that emotion, those feelings, that vibration. You could feel it. For example, just gratitude. I mean, if you've ever sat in a meditation or just felt so grateful, you feel that vibrating. I could literally like feel my body right now vibrating. Just the thought of thinking of being grateful. Anyways, going off on a random tangent. Last thing I want to talk about, which by the way, like none of this is in order. I kind of just write these episodes as the ideas come to my head, because now that I'm looking at this last point, I almost wish I started with this, because this is really fucking important. If you want to be able to do anything that we just talked about today and be successful at it, you need to do this first. I really hope you guys stay to the end of this episode, because I truly think to energetically shift into a new reality, to have the energy to be able to do that, you need to have this down. And that is cutting off the energy suckers in your life. Whatever that is, toxic friends, family, work, social media. For example, I am going through a social media detox right now. I have not scrolled in 1 week. I'm now going on week 2. And it's not to say I'll never scroll again, but I mean, scrolling was the biggest energy sucker in my life. Your energy is so powerful. You can't like step into your most authentic self and be creative, get downloads if you are constantly depleted of your energy. Being constantly depleted of your energy because of energy suckers in your life, again, whether that's people, whether that's your own mind, which, going back on other things that we've talked about in this episode, will probably help with that. I'm mainly just talking about, again, I see it as people in your life, toxic friends, family, work, and honestly social media. It's so important to at least set boundaries with these things or these people. For example, me with scrolling, like I still let myself post, I still let myself read my DMs, I'll watch a few stories, but I am not letting myself mindlessly scroll, because I did not even realize, like I would have moments where I'm like, why am I not feeling creative? Like I want nothing more, for example, to like sit down and film a podcast episode, or just to create something. Like it's such a big part of my life. Why can't I tap into that? Why do I have no ideas? Why am I not motivated? Why am I not inspired? I had no energy, because again, a lot of the things that I create, truly, whether it's a podcast episode or just a creative video, a lot of it comes in downloads. Even just ideas for work, like all of it comes in downloads. I sit there within, my energy. I feel grounded and I'm able to tap into all of these creative ideas. However, do I feel that way after 2-3 hours of doom scrolling? Absolutely not. I do not have a single creative thought in my brain. And you would think the opposite. I convinced myself that scrolling was inspiration. I'm like, yeah, no, I scroll and there's so many creative people and I can get so many ideas. That was just like an excuse to stay addicted to the scrolling, I think my brain liked the dopamine hit. But at the end of the day, for really letting myself tap into this authentic, creative person that I am, and really thinking for myself, and really, being able to decipher my thoughts, my opinions, my view of the world, and everyone else's opinions, and all of these things. Creating boundaries with social media has helped me so much. I mean, it's like a night and day difference in my levels of creativity and just in how I feel throughout the day. And I rarely feel depleted energetically. I mean, personally, I have set, I was just gonna say I set very clear boundaries with the people in my life, but the truth is I don't even have to. And it's like, almost feels like I'm bragging saying that, because even just with the people in my life and the people in their lives, like I feel like I'm constantly teaching people about setting boundaries and living for yourself, and you don't owe anyone anything. So I feel like it's very present in my life because it's present in my friends' lives, but personally, I don't really have to set like crazy boundaries. I don't have energy suckers in my life. I don't allow energy suckers in my life. Like, I don't know. And I just naturally don't have any in my family. So it's just, that's where I stand with that. But it's not to say my life has always been this way. I think personally, I've just always had such an amazing, supportive family, just respectful people that, you know, I don't know, we all just have mutual respect for each other. I've never had parents that are like, you need to be this and do that, and, you know, I don't know, ever depleting me energetically at all. However, I've definitely experienced that with friends and relationships. And what's crazy is every single time that friendship or relationship had ended, that's when I realized, like, that's when it hit me how depleting they were, how much they were just sucking me dry, honestly. And so I think that's important to say, because you might not even notice, you know, like who or what are those biggest energy leaks in your life. You might know. It might be very obvious to you as I'm talking about this, but you might not know. And, you know, I don't know if this is helpful, but genuinely just trying to think back now, I remember when I would be spending a lot of time with a certain friend, or again, like just talking to a new person that I really felt was, or I didn't know at the time, was really just draining me. Sometimes just because I lived in the city, like just going home to see my parents, or just going back and seeing like a childhood friend that I felt safe with, and comparing that. Like comparing how it felt to be around safety, to be around good energy, to be around energy like givers, like being a giver and being with a giver, and you're constantly just giving to each other and no one's depleted at the end of it. Sometimes I just needed to be reminded of that again, to then go back to that energy sucking relationship or person in my life and realize how bad it was. And this is the thing, once you start to set boundaries, cut these people off, stop scrolling on social media, delete TikTok, whatever it is, once you start to regain your depleted energy, not only do you like care about your hobbies again, you have creative thoughts, like having amazing ideas, wanting to get back to the things that you want to do, working out again, whatever, just like getting back to you. Not only does that happen, but you start to get very familiar with what your cup being full feels like. And that, I mean, that needs to be the standard. That needs to be the standard, if you ask me. Like, it's okay if you don't know that. I feel like everyone has like had moments in their lives where they're just in like fight or flight. Like they're just trying to like, they don't realize their energy is being depleted, or they do, or they just think it's normal. But the second you can get back to yourself and really feel yourself again, feel your energy, feel what giving back to you fully could be, just like feeling that full cup, what that full cup of your energy does feel like, and how you feel when you're there. That is the new standard. And personally, if I'm with anyone who empties my cup, that's all I gotta know. That's all I gotta know. I need to go to you with my full cup, and you're adding more to my cup. My cup is overflowing, and I'm overflowing your cup. Like that is just like the only relationship I'll allow in my life at this point. But anyways, if you want to even be able to tap into that, even be able to really focus on like the main points that we talked about before tapping into your energy leaks, if you really want to be able to do all that, again, you need to recognize where those energy leaks are. Because again, once that cup is full, once you recognize your cup is full again, and you have all that energy to work with, you just have so much more to put in to this energetic shift, into this new reality that you're bringing in. But anyways, I feel like, especially with this topic, we can talk about this all day long. We can talk about this for a year straight. But I want to end this episode here. It's been almost an hour of me straight talking. So let me know, maybe we can even do a part 2 about this. Like there's so many tips when it comes to tapping into your own energy and raising your vibration, like getting into that next version of yourself, that next level of yourself, getting rid of all these blocks and limitations. This is an endless conversation, but I hope you found some value in today's episode. I'm so grateful that you took the time to listen to this or watch this on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram or TikTok at SkyKristen or The Spiritual Businesswoman. And yeah, that's everything for today, and I will see you in my next episode.